Alright everyone, welcome back to the Gore Report. Today, I'm riding a different bike. Got here the Royal Enfield INT 650, also known as the Interceptor 650. I'm actually test riding this bike from a local dealer. Thinking about looking at one. Thought I'd take you guys along for a ride. If you're looking at this one, you probably already know the specs on it. It's a 650 parallel twin, fuel injected. I actually picked this color in particular just because the blacked out trim. They had an orange one that had just, I guess, raw aluminum wheels, but they're like silver looking wheels and whatnot, and I just thought the blue and the black looked good together. So what do you say we take this little fella for a spin now? Fires right up. Kind of nice little parallel twin thrum. Feels well balanced just picking it up off the kickstand. It does not feel very heavy. It feels like it carries its weight pretty low as far as I'm concerned. But let's see how she rides around. Man, just feels very, very light. Steering feels light so far. And obviously we're just in a parking lot right now, but we'll see how she does out on the streets. I'm not going to go too far on this one because it is a dealer bike. It's a brand new dealer bike. And I don't want to put a ton of miles on it unless I know for sure that I'm buying it. So, get this closed up here. This actually kind of reminds me of some of the bikes I had when I was younger. When I first started riding, I was typical, didn't have a whole lot of money kind of kid. And my first bikes were like UJM, you know, CB750, CB450. I had a Suzuki GS750. I had a Yamaha XS. I mean, stuff like that was kind of what I got, or what I had. And this kind of reminds me of that. Pretty upright seating position. I did go for this over riding the Continental GT, just because of the more upright handlebars. I'm not too big on the clip-ons for too long, just because it's one of those things that excuse me, it's not super comfortable when you go riding for any length of time. So I would rather ride something that I know I can you know, put some miles on without feeling like it's beating me up too bad. But I got lucky there, didn't even have to put a foot down. Let's see. Woohoo! Yeah, this thing's got some good power. I mean, it's not a sport bike by any means, but it's got plenty of power to get out of its own way. Obviously, too, understand I'm coming from a Himalayan here, so not necessarily the fastest bike ever. And I think this bike actually has maybe twice the horsepower of a Himalayan. I think a Himalayan's like 24, and if I had to guess, this thing is 50s, maybe 60 horsepower or something like that. Not anything substantial, but still not bad at all, man. It's got some torque too. It builds power from pretty low. You know, it's not like a some of the more modern high-strung bikes where you have to wring its neck or anything. This is kind of like a cruiser-ish kind of bike. Although, man, I really like the way it handles. I think it's got a steeper fork angle than some of the older stuff because it doesn't feel as sluggish, definitely. I really don't think it feels bad at all. I actually really like the way this thing rides. The suspension's pretty decent. Brakes are pretty good. I don't have any issues. Woo! Yeah, man, this thing is smooth. Very smooth. It's like, dare I say, Honda smooth, if I could. You know, having I had a 74 CB750, had a CB450, actually had a couple. I had a CB650 at one point too. But man, this thing kind of reminds me of that, as far as the vibe goes anyway. Super easy to ride. Brakes feel pretty good. A little squish, but this is not a sport bike either, so it's not like something that you would expect. Hey, buddies. You got a stretched swing arm. Oh, look at this guy doing a wheelie. They're just having all kinds of fun today, huh? But yeah, not necessarily something that I think is going to hinder it too much. I mean, I just waited a little extra to come on the brakes just there for that truck that was turning, and it grabbed right away. You know, pretty good brake feel. You know, not the most, you know, obviously this isn't premium parts and stuff, but this is a $6,000 bike, brand new. It's really what I would have wanted from any of my past older Japanese bikes that I owned. You know, it's got the retro look. It's got an upright position for seating. It's got, you know, more compliant suspension and brakes than any of those bikes ever did. That's for sure. Because, oh my God, if you ever get a chance to ride an old CB anything, or a Suzuki GS or anything like that, definitely not the best suspension in the whole world. I remember all of mine being kind of wallowy and, oh my gosh, fogging up my lens here. Kind of wallowy and squishy for the most part. And that was just, you know, I think that's just the way those bikes were. They didn't have the technology that they do now, even for the lower end stuff like this, you know. But man, I'm really enjoying riding this thing now. I don't want to give it back. I might actually have to pick one up. Although I told them I wouldn't go too far, so I will probably, man, this wind noise is probably killing everybody, huh? Maybe that helps a little bit. But I will probably turn around here pretty soon and head back with this thing. But I will say, it does, man, it rides so smooth, you know? Does not feel like I'm going super fast when I know that I'm going 50, 60 miles an hour. It just rides like you'd want a motorcycle like this to ride. You know, everything works. It rides smooth. It's got torque. I really like it. I got kind of used to my gear indicator on my Himalayan, so if there's anything I could hit this one for, it would be Be kind of cool to have a gear indicator, but that's not even something you need, you know? I mean, none of my other bikes had gear indicators. It's not really a requirement. It's just kind of one of those things that's nice to have. And I'm sure you could add one too, if you really felt so inclined. But I'm really impressed, guys. This thing is carries its weight really well down low. Handles pretty good. You know, obviously I don't think you're gonna be going and tracking it on the weekend like Yami Dude did with his, but you know, I don't think anybody would have a problem, you know, if you wanted to take this up on a twisty road and have a little bit of fun and feel what it's like to push it a little bit. I don't think that you'd ever get to the point where you were hitting all the limits of it in regular street riding or anything like that. So hopefully I get a arrow here in a second. There we go. Come on, guys. Go ahead and, man, it just turns in quick, you know? Really like that. Feels very smooth. It really does feel nimble, you know? And I don't think I remember anybody saying that about this bike in any of the other reviews here. But it really does, you know? It feels like it feels like a small bike underneath you, you know? I really don't feel like it's difficult to ride or heavy or unmanageable, anything like that. Let's do a little U-turn. Look at that. Perfect. I still had and don't get me wrong, I am far from a motorcycle riding instructor, but that was a pretty damn good U-turn in my opinion. Didn't need to use all the street. I just kind of turned in and it went, you know? And I think that's carries its weight pretty low. So I think that's really a lot of it, you know? I'm just gonna pull in here real quick. So I saw this as an empty lot. And we will do, ooh, a little bit of gravel there. I'm gonna do some final thoughts on this guy too. So, oh man, neutral is so easy to find too. If you guys have a Hemi, you know that those are not, or at least mine isn't the easiest to find neutral on, but man, if there's one thing, this bike seems like it leans over really far. Look at that. This is me straight on the bike. When it's on its side stand, seems like it leans over super far. I don't know if that's just a thing that they do or what, but man, it's a good looking bike. And man, does it ride nice. I really like this, guys. Well, this has a center stand too. Always helpful. I mean, just look at that. That's gorgeous. I actually used to, one of my Hondas was the same color. I painted it and painted it pretty much the same color blue that this guy is. But man, that's beautiful. I really don't have a whole lot bad to say. I mean, pretty much everything that's I guess, quote, a shortcoming on this guy is gonna be chalked up to the fact that it's $6,000, you know? I don't think you can get anything like this for that kind of money. It's a great deal. I think probably this seat would get a little uncomfortable after a little while. It's padded, but you know, it's not the best. Maybe get a nicer touring seat or something on there, but man, it's a gorgeous bike. Well, I'm going to sign off for now. Please, if you like any of this content, give me a thumbs up there. Subscribe. That really helps me out too. I'm going to try to do more and more stuff like this as time goes by, but the more of you that watch it, the better it is for me, and I guess the more apt I'll be to do more of these guys in the future. So if you can, like, subscribe, shoot me a comment if you have a question or even a suggestion on something to do, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget, get out there and ride, fellas.